This week's episode of Bonfireside Chat is brought to you by Ian Davies.
Ian,
thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
You helped.
And how he helped, because he is one of our patrons. Yeah. Much like, an old Renaissance lord of oldie times helping us paint stucco murals on the ceiling of some dusty old chapel. He's one of our patrons because he went to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and has pledged a certain amount of money every month, which lets us continue to make shows and gets him cool stuff.
Yeah. So check it out. See the rewards, including early access to the shows and questions in our live stream. Again, that is Duckfeed.tv/tipjar or patreon.com/Duckfeedtv.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. Do you have a lust for blood? Why else would you be here? Then you will need blood. Oh, lots of it. Undead blood, like your own.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
My name is Murph.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is a cursed favorite.
And this week we are talking about the Huntsman's Copse and Undead Purgatory. And as you heard, we are joined once again by Murph, an alumnus of the show, and also the host of the Dork Night podcast. Hey, Murph.
Hey, Kole. Hi, Gary.
Hello. Two-time alumnus.
Yes.
You're like it's like you're coming back to host Saturday Night Live. You're getting into those, Louis C.K. numbers.
Yeah, getting up in those Alec Baldwin strata.
Yeah.
We can only hope to be Steve Martin.
Nobody can hope to be Steve Martin. You just have to be real sad and not like people.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, we might actually be closer than we thought. But in addition to that podcast, you're doing some game dev stuff here recently, aren't you?
Oh yeah. You know what? I was going to make that. It's currently private. By the time this airs, I'll make some stuff public. I'm currently in development of something called Blackest Jack, which is a wacky blackjack game. And I'll post on, I think it's my itch.to website, but I'll figure that out later. I'll post it on dorknight.com.
Yeah, and let us know. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
Okay, yeah. But
hopefully I'm not outing you on anything you're not ready to out on.
No. It's my art is terrible, which is the main obstacle to my game development, but it's solid mechanically.
Well, just throw something up on Craigslist asking people to do it for exposure.
Yeah.
Be a monster.
Resident batting.
I can't afford to pay you, but...
Oh, man. Yeah.
Murph's better than that.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Instead, I'm trying to better myself in the art realm, but it is slow going.
The noble path. Astute listeners, just so we don't have a continuity collapse and end up going back in time and killing our grandparents or anything, I will note that we were originally going to be joined by Allison Baker, who sadly couldn't make it. But just throw that out there. Go to LegoDarkSouls.tumblr.com because she is great and does great work. So,
indeed, they're pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, Murph invaded us, so he's the
dark spirit Murph.
Yeah.
Kill me 5 times to get my armor.
Yeah. I'm not going to grind
T-shirt
to get
and a
that.
pair of Levi's. What?
Yeah, I'm not going to grind to get the polo shirt, dude. What did we do last time, Cole?
Well, last time we witnessed one version of undead subjugation in this continent by visiting the Lost Bastille and seeing the concentration camp-esque levels of horrificness there, where undead were quarantined away from the healthy folk in Vendrick's kingdom, or some kind of kingdom. We also fought some sentinels and gargoyles, and then we turned away once we faced some snipers on the Sinner's Rise. And now we turn to another undead hell, this time the most dangerous game within a game, the Huntsman's Copse.
Yeah, man is the most dangerous thing to hunt, and that's what we're doing here. So, like, as we mentioned a couple of times, like, one of the neat things about Dark Souls 2, I feel like this happens a lot of times in fiction, in sequels where you'll see how one culture deals with a problem, and then the sequel you'll kind of pull back and say, okay, we've established the problem. Now let's look at other ways to kind of tackle it. Happens a lot in zombie movies, weirdly enough, and that makes sense for this because this is probably the zombiest area in the game in a way. So we know how that kingdom does it. This kingdom is near Alone or Elan, the realm of the Iron King. And when the undead curse began to overtake his kingdom, instead of locking them up or trying to cure it, he started hunting them for sport and setting them up for torture. They're explicit torturers, and it's fucking dark and awful. Most of what we know, we know a little bit about the Iron King, and a lot of it we know based on this, and he is a monster.
based on seeing the fruits of his actions.
Continuously, like the next couple areas you go into in the spoke, like he is the worst.
Yeah. If I were to describe this area in like one word, it's like rot.
Like brat, like the sausage?
Oh no. Minus the B.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rot. Just kind of like overly worked over and designed. Like this is
or ROT.
ROT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, minus the B. I think
Okay.
So,
wait, BROT?
Yeah.
You gotta bring it.
This might be the first time where the audible medium has failed us.
Oh boy.
And for more audible mediums, go to audible.com.
We stopped doing that.
Yeah. So this, and ultimately, after this kingdom fell, for one reason or another, and we'll talk about it a little bit, Vendrick gets his claws in this because there's one specific enemy that kind of shows up in this woods that has some ties to a later area.
Yeah.
So, kind of leads, this is either like a dumping ground for these things or a place of, like weapons testing.
Yeah, like
almost.
an excursionary force. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the Metal Gear weapons test data. See how the artificial undead do.
Oh man!
Really, to get the most out of these shows, you have to listen to like all 6 shows we put out a week. Honestly,
it's like we're like the worst of comics.
Yeah.
Like it's continuous
well, before we get too crazy off here, did you know that I think the Lloyd's Talisman from Dark Souls 1 contains a possible reference to this area?
No, do tell.
Yeah, so I'll be quoting. Talisman utilized by Allfather Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead. Blocks the Estus and their blah blah blah. In the outside world, undead are cursed creatures, but in Lord's clerics knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. So, blah blah blah, undead recovery, blah blah blah, blocking.
I always thought of that as referring to Patches. Or not Patches, shit. What's his name? Petrus. Like in him being that, because he was sent to, ensure that Rhea doesn't come back.
Yeah.
That's how I always thought of that. But it's definitely, because we were talking about how novel it is that they're hunting undead. And it's possible that, the church kind of put this face on it and we're treating them like people. And Alon just decided to, literally treat them like animals. Not even cage them. Like people go in prisons.
Yeah.
Like this is just, we are going to kill you and torture you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stinky deer. Stinky deer.
But speaking of the church, should we talk about the NPC that gets us here?
Yeah, that's super interesting to me. Like the fact that this is walled off, and I don't have a good theory why Lycia is able to get you in here. It is one of my favorite scenes in the game. Like when she says, it can only be opened by miracles, pray, and then when your head is down, she just slyly unlocks the door. That's wonderful. But I understand why this would be locked off if this kingdom has fallen, or if it's literally just like this is where they put all their, raving undead and hunters and stuff. But I don't know why Lycia can unlock it.
I mean, the answer might just be pure opportunism. I mean, she found the key and she knows that there are people who want to get there. So
yeah,
she's on that paper chase.
Yeah. Lycia wants souls.
Yeah, for
sure. Like Lycia is interesting because, and we'll talk about her a little bit more when she appears. But I feel like there's a lot more to her, and I don't understand her. Like I know a little bit about her. I know that she is a shitheel, but I don't know much more than that.
do we want to, I guess, talk about what you get when you kill her?
Yeah, the chime and the and the key.
The key. Well, there's also the spell.
Oh, yeah.
The spell explicitly states that she stole it from her. I guess her order of. It starts with an L.
Lindelt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she stole that spell from the Lindelt monastery, and that's why I guess she is a traitor, if you will.
Yeah, and you run into Lindelt clerics later too.
Yeah,
I don't have
the
that
shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that where she's originally from? What does that? What could that mean?
Yeah.
Shrine.
Yeah, but I mean, it should be at least called out that this kind of crossroads area is, the link to two fallen kingdoms, both Hade and Alon, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That is definitely true.
Yeah.
And you can only access one of them at once because of like bonfire teleportation. I never had that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just the thing would reset, but I ended up running back to the door and being like, "Oh shit, I can't get through there now. Why am I even walking here? This is dumb. I don't have to walk anywhere."
Yeah. Take, a frequent contributor, he's the only person who I've heard having a problem with that, but that's because he did a no bonfires run through.
Oh no.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, on my eventual list for getting if V Souls never comes out. But once you open this gate, you go up kind of through this long cavern, and you eventually meet an NPC, Falcon the Outcast, who I like a lot.
Yeah,
yeah, he's interesting. There's not tons to him. Like he's not, I'm not holding my breath for the Falcon prepare to cry, but I like his general tone a lot.
Yeah, he's like a sadder, more neurotic Laurentius, just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked how he's in a chair and he's just very clearly facing the wall.
He's in timeout.
Like uncomfortably close to a wall.
That's a baller chair, though.
The first time I ran through this area, I missed him. Like I totally didn't see him and had to go back. He also never relocates. Like he's the only spell merchant that won't head back to anywhere near Majula. Mm-hmm. No matter how much he likes you and everything, because he is an outcast. Like it is, if you talk to him and get his story, he's tried studying traditional magic at Melfia and just found it wanting.
Yeah. And now he's obsessed with the dark, and he actually came to Drain Lake specifically to slake that obsession. He says that this is the place that is closest to the dark. And if there is anything that is worthwhile to say about him, it's that he is not hollow, or at the very least, he does not say he is hollow. He says, hey, everybody here is either undead or has the curse, but not me. Suspicious Dark Souls laugh.
Right. I wonder, a way the trick to always find out if somebody's hollow is to fight him and see if they use Estus. I've never done that. I wonder if he, ends up using Estus, because that would be a hint as to whether he's lying.
Is this our first encounter with Hex?
We've run into hexes, but this is our first, merchant. This is our first hex, specific thing.
Yeah. I
feel like we probably found one up until this point, but this is the first time we can talk about hexes. Mm-hmm. Hexes are OP as shit. Hexes are the most powerful magic you can do. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, I did a hex run for my second run, and it was at least twice as easier than just like a sword and board run.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm working through it now because I'm setting up. After I do Whipfest, I want to do like a Magic Man sequel, but hexes only. But because hexes are so good, I'm going to do it in New Game Double Plus. So I'm getting my hex guy up to New Game Double Plus, and it's still super easy. Like it is so easy to just stomp through New Game Plus with hexes. And like the balancing factor is that it requires this huge stat investment, but you just do so much fucking damage.
And there's so many.
Yeah, and they're all good. Like they're really they're really cool. Like the new sorceries that they introduced for this, like some of them are really neat, and I appreciate them giving kind of new shapes to the magic missiles you're shooting, but they're not as good as the hexes. Right. I found.
Mm. So as somebody who's interested in doing a hex playthrough, like what's the best starting point for that?
Knock Alicia off the bridge Immediately go cheese dragon. Start as a cleric, knock Lissy off the bridge and take her chime, because that's the best text chime for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And then just build up your intelligence and faith up to 20 and grab a hexing gear.
Yeah.
And then you're golden.
It sounded like you were about to say something, Murph. So
no, that was pretty much the exact same advice I would give.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Falcon is one of those mean old vendors who will not talk to you if you don't have a certain stat. Requirement, which is 8 int and 8 faith.
You just don't have the gift.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about hexing is that on paper it seems like it's going to be so unpowerful. Mm-hmm. Like pyromancy, which was like crazy overpowered in the first one, and sorcery too. But pyromancy, where it's like it scales with the better of your two things. Mm-hmm. This one it scales with the worst. You think, oh shit, But then when you realize it's kind of trivial to keep those things even, and their adjust makes up for it. Mm-hmm. That it just He also gives you, when he gives you his hexing gear and gives you that staff, that's one of the coolest looking weapons in any of the Souls games, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because it animates.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the armor, just the way that looks. I mean, it's super goth, and it speaks to 16-year-old Murph who was hung around in a Hot Topic, but still.
Yeah. That's a really early place to get that staff, because I only picked it up on my sorcerer outside of Aldius.
Yeah. And you can, if you want to, if you don't want to use him as a merchant, you can kill him for the staff too.
Oh.
Because that ties into a quest later. And it's a good sorcery staff. Like, it's not the best hex, staff, but it's serviceable for a good long time.
Yeah.
And the hood gives you additional spell casts for any spell. So the hood's super useful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. So you get to this area here with a bonfire. This area is very generous with bonfires for the most part.
Ridiculously
which is nice.
So. This might be a new record, actually.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. And you get to kind of see off on into the distance and see this huge kind of stone structure, which turns out to actually be the Purgatory that we're going to later.
Yeah, this is this area, for a certain percent of the population of listeners and players, this might have been the first Dark Souls 2 that they saw, because Huntsman's Copse was the beta area, and standing here at this bonfire, looking up at the Purgatory, which kind of looks like some of the arenas around Ulasil in the Prepare to Die edition. And also talking to Melentia, who was here in that particular build, talking about kingdoms of the past and whatever. That was a really strong feint towards, hey, this is Lordran, coupled with the idea of this being kind of a forest area, made it really, really feel like Darkroot. So that's kind of just some of the baggage that I came into this area with.
Mm. Yeah, but definitely that makes a sense.
Yeah.
So you make your way into this cavern. And you're introduced to the first new enemy. I think you run into one of those prisoners on your way up here that don't show. You can't lock onto them until they aggro, which is interesting. But these poison moths, who we talked about it before. Like, moths are creepy, and these guys just kind of spray you, dust you with this pollen.
Yeah, and they make a little twinkly sound. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's better than having the crazy sorcery moths, but no, these guys stick around, and they're almost always elusive. I've never been able to take one down without resorting to spells or archery.
Oh yeah, but they are a nice source of the poison.
The
poison
green
moss.
Yeah, whatever the moss is. Yeah,
which is super expensive for what it does.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, but because poison's so intense too, coming into this area with a lot of moss was useful, and being able to farm it for a time because I was getting poisoned, and poison is, there are so many poison areas in this, and their proximity to Harvest Valley makes tons of sense, actually.
Yeah.
So these moths are probably essentially just like Blinky the three-eyed fish. They very well could have been normal moths that just grew up too close to Harvest Valley. You can actually go down to the bottom of this pit if you want to here by climbing on mushrooms in a terrifying way, and there's an undead torturer who will kill you as soon as you land, unless you're very good. It's a pretty tough thing.
Yeah,
but there's a safe way to get down there too.
Yeah, a little bit later on. I didn't know you could get to it from up here. Those mushrooms kind of freaked me out just because they blended in so well with the wall.
They don't look like something you can climb, but you definitely can jump on down to them.
Huh. That'd be a bizarre shortcut to the second bonfire if this was the least necessary area for a shortcut ever.
Yeah.
If this was not the least necessary ever,
right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
but you break out, and as you pass through this area, probably poison, but maybe not. I don't know. Just use soul gems. You get to. I can't quite discern what this structure, this building's for, honestly. But you good?
I was just going to comment about. Oh, go ahead.
If you put down a marker, we're being idiots.
Yes, I can.
We're all experienced podcasters here, people. Murph, go ahead. I apologize.
I was going to say it's got that deep, twisting, dark pit. Kind of always evoked some kind of like the pit in Java's palace kind of thing for me.
Yeah, down in the middle there. Yeah, and like we've seen a big, perfectly round pit like this before. This is something that you throw things you want to forget down.
Yeah, oubliette.
Yeah.
There are also those little indentations in the wall where there are prisoners. Mm-hmm. There, like, I just kind of assume that's what this building was for. Was like keeping people in prison, probably torturing them some, and eventually throwing them in a pit.
Yeah, like cold storage.
Like it's the pit
almost,
building.
Yeah.
Maybe I could like a sort of mini arena.
Ooh.
Because it's raised on both sides. I mean, there's no like keeping people out of it or from walking out, but there's a viewing area, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of choke points if you're going to try to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that for sure could be the case. This twisted fuck. Create this building.
Yeah.
You're introduced to your first like agility enemy here at this point. Like some of the pirates we fought were a little bit tricksy, but these are the thieves. These are the lower Undead Berg.
Yeah.
Backstab motherfuckers.
Love these guys. These fights are so great.
The animations are so good. The club one does that like when they do the 3-hit combo and it's like 2 regular hits and then like pretty twirl.
Uh-huh.
Like just pretty twirl and then just do that like pirouette. It's so flourishy.
Yep. And just the way that they can change their tactics depending on your distance from them. Like it's so varied and textured. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I like how the arrows are like they do a good deal of damage, but not enough to like immediately kill you. But what you really like, if you're not careful at all, like you'll just get poisoned in 2-3 arrows.
Just about.
Yeah. Yeah, they're significant depending on the armor you're wearing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. And you're going to be hit with a couple, especially as you're going through this for the first time, because there's one across from the pit who's kind of taking pot shots at you as you're taking care of the ones that are on this side of the room with you.
Mm-hmm. And then that ambush, too, that door, like if you head towards that door, I think I burst out.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, man. Oh, well, up on top, before we, I guess, leave through that door, where the guys jump.
Yeah.
That's such a great, like, set piece.
It's like a straight Batman move.
Yeah. I love knowing where they're going to land, too, because you can run up and position yourself behind them and backstab them right as soon as they land. It's like, derp.
The hunted has become the hunter has become the hunted. Yeah, this is a fun little building.
This is a cool area. Yeah, but don't worry too much because there's immediately another bonfire.
Yeah, don't worry.
You pretty much just have to clear this one area, then you're good.
Yep. Just like right down under the bridge substructure, which I love the fact that it makes you look up at the Undead Purgatory for the majority of the beginning part of this level, because it really makes you think that is where you're headed to. And obviously you might. I mean, we're going to talk about that area later on in this episode. But the idea that you might end up going there and that it's functionally a dead end is a nice little switcheroo that I didn't expect the game to play on me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did anyone else notice that this area in particular is just like a PvP hotspot?
Yeah, a lot of that happens here. I was thinking about it. I wonder, one of the other things I'm doing for that new game Double Plus thing is building up as much sin as possible, so I get blue invaded during the thing, and I got blue invaded here like the entire time I was here in New Game Plus. The Super Cops, and then I got red invaded a couple times, and I think that might be because of the proximity to the Covenant, the Brotherhood of Blood.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to describe that was intentional because it's sort of lore.
Like
consistent.
plausible. Yeah.
Right. Because like this is where undead hunt other undead. Here's a really big PvP hotspot.
Yeah. And if this is Darkroot, PvP, am I right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and the thing about this bonfire, like I'm thinking about it, I'm glad this bonfire is here because of the 2 boss runs you have to do.
Yep.
The first one shouldn't be there, but I think it's there because of Falcon.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's there so you can zip to Falcon.
Yeah, you've got to pop in, pop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is a good bonfire. Like the 2 boss runs you do from this point feel like Dark Souls 1 boss runs for the most part. And getting the next bonfire is not, a done deal. Like it's not mandatory. So you could be making both those boss runs from here, and that feels like a reasonable boss run.
Can you elaborate on the why those are specifically Dark Souls 1 fights or runs?
Just because there are longer in Dark Souls 1, there are longer boss runs.
Yeah.
I feel like than in Dark Souls 2. Like Dark Souls 2 tends to have significantly shorter boss runs.
Okay.
I find, not in every case, but in many cases, by having so many more bonfires and boss fights.
Yeah. So from here, you can kind of take that leap of faith off onto the bridge substructure and get to the bottom of that moth pit with the executioner. I forget. Is that chest trapped?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I don't think there's anything super significant in there, like in terms of.
It's Ricard's rapier.
Yeah, which is significant. Like it's good for a certain build. Like it is still, but rather than getting on Ricard, you get it here.
Ricard.
Yeah, and you fight the torturers for the first time, which are pretty tough enemies.
Yeah.
They definitely beat the crap out of me on my first encounter.
Yeah,
like,
especially that we're going to talk about that gauntlet on the way to the Purgatory, but that's a huge difficulty spike.
Yeah.
That is God, yeah.
That is a wall of pain and whips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
the dark side of Whipfest.
The dark side of Whipfest.
When I'm sunbrowing for this area, that's where I put my sign down is just before that gauntlet, just because it's such like that spike there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I looked for help the first time I was going through it and couldn't get through it. And I don't know what was wrong, like why I couldn't summon any help, but I would have loved to grab the Murph at that point. Pop a Murphy. Yeah.
That's nice though, because that's probably where somebody's going to be getting desperate, and it also clearly displays your intentions as the summonee about which way you want to go. Like as opposed to that's one of the bad things about the semi-hidden / inaccessible bonfire and the one that is way too close to the one that was before. It's like, where do you plop your shingle down to be summoned? Right.
Right.
I've never seen like a consistent, like a consistent pattern that's been agreed upon by the community.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So you enter the bridge approach, and we are in a Dark Souls style forest. It is a forest. It's a little bit. It plays differently than Darkroot in that it is more about I feel like this is a little bit more ambushy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Darkroot had the D&D party, and it had the Ents. But the Ents would just run right towards you. They weren't necessarily they blended in, but they weren't hidden. But guys are straight up hiding, behind trees in this area, and the moths are, above.
I would say the Ents had
ceilings.
Yeah, the ceilings. Good God. I would say the Ents had a little bit of ambushiness to them too, just because they could pop out of the ground
ones.
Yeah, the ground ones. But the ones that were up, they were definitely just running straight towards you. Like this forest feels very scripted to me. Insofar as they're luring you towards points of interest with very concrete encounters in mind.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
This area really punishes attempting to just run through it.
Yeah, until you know how to do it. Like not so much with the Skelelords, but with the chariot. That took me a lot of tries to beat. And eventually I mastered running through this, but it took a long time for me to get it and how to do it.
Well, if you try and run through if the bridge isn't down, Oh, like I did the first time?
I mean, you just run straight off a cliff, right?
Oh, I mean, I wheeled and was like, oh, and then Benny hilled it around like the jail
Like
cells, I guess.
Yeah.
Come back here, except it's a...
Tons of archers there too. Like if you get up to that point, you're going to get jumped like a motherfucker, and probably some of these artificial undeads, followed you up.
Yeah, startlingly swift, these artificial undeads for being gigantic ogres.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think that just has to do with them being dual wielders. Just because they have these big long swipes, they can get you from further away than you think. So, like, you think you're being crafty by getting around them, but they will get up behind you real quick.
I really like their size as weapon because they have like this feeling of weight, but still like speed behind them.
Yeah, that happens with many enemies in this, where they can run longer than you think they can. Like enemies dash at you now in this way they didn't used to.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the enemy that carries sickles that are made of alloy that we know is specifically from Vendrick and Aldia's reign. So
yeah. So it makes me wonder like what these guys are. It makes me wonder when in the chronology these guys arrived, because there's nothing to suggest that Aldia / Vendrick and the Iron King were buddy or anything like that. And if these guys were made to hunt the undead or torture them, that doesn't seem like that is in line with the Iron King's MO, because he is, he's pretty racist against the undead. Pretty racist. So I don't know if they came, if it's part of, like you mentioned earlier, if it's part of like an invasion force, or like almost like the fact that this is locked away almost makes me think that this is where, they're being tested or put in as, these things are dangerous to keep around. They've got big sickles. Let's stick them in that forest.
Yeah.
From that,
why do we give them
iron
2
asshole.
sickles?
Yeah, no. Why do you make them so fast?
It's a board with a nail in it. Yeah.
Like, why do they want to hug?
Yeah. I mean, this very well could be the Spencer Mansion, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The design on these things is great, though. Like they look really, really cool to me, and they do. When you say Spencer Mansion, that's interesting because they look like almost nemesis, nemesicular.
Say there will be nemesis.
Yeah. So you're heading up. Did it. You had to do this bridge thing.
Yeah.
That we talked about. Lower the bridge inside this hut where you get ambushed from the ceiling. Which is great.
Yeah.
Good moment.
Yeah. I only bring this up. I don't want to encourage this kind of thing. In fact, I want to specifically call it out and say the community can do better. So we talk about, the orange soapstone messages, butthole, right? Butthole coming up. There's a corpse where you can pick up an aromatic ooze in this area, kind of along that far left wall. And around that, there were at least 3 messages that said, of the aromatic ooze, visions of woman. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Bonfireside Chat does not approve.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Butthole is fine.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna make a joke about like some corpse is bent over.
Yeah.
And you're just like try thrust butthole. Fair enough. Like sound advice.
It's egalitarian.
Yeah, wear sunscreen and try butthole. Like good advice for the graduate into it. But yeah. Don't be misogynistic or racist.
Yep.
Or homophobic. That shit's gross. Not approved.
Baz Luhrmann tells people to tear up their bank statements. That's a really bad idea. Keep those. The government might want them. That's a beef that I've had with the sunscreen song for a very long time.
Did you say Baz Luhrmann?
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy who did the Romeo and Juliet remake?
Yeah, it's a speech that he gave, like a commencement that was turned into a song.
Yeah, it was actually the year I graduated. That song became popular.
Man, I didn't realize that was Baz
super
Luhrmann.
Annoying.
I already hated Baz Luhrmann. Now I double hate Baz Luhrmann.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason
he made Moulin Rouge on this.
Evidence is mounting that he is a terrible person.
An asshole.
Yeah. So you pull that lever and you lower that super sweet the drawbridge, which I can only assume is meant to to control population flow.
Yeah.
Like one pops up later, right?
It should be noted that the lever is in a hut that would be walled off if it wasn't broken on the side. So like when you say population control, it very well could be like there was a guy stationed in there with the bars kind of looking out in kind of a Papers, Please style scenario, and could lower the bridge and raise it, and eventually got broken into and killed, because that's ultimately what happened to the jailers in this area. Succumb to the curse.
I'd like to see the Vendrickian passport that was done in crayon.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's like a Papers, Please, but for the undead copes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you're from the Iron Kingdom. Get back.
So somebody comes through, but they have that ring that explodes after they take enough damage.
Yeah, the ring of the firstborn son or whatever.
Like, oh no, it's a tragedy.
Or it's one of those undead that throw themselves down and explode.
Yeah.
Like, he seems legit.
End of the chapter. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I gotta feed my family.
didn't make enough
Doesn't matter, they're
souls.
dead.
Grandpa's sick. Grandpa's sick.
Yeah. But you get to the lockway here, which we can't get into here, but there is a bonfire, a tantalizing bonfire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a mysterious man in black kind of melding into the background.
Yeah.
I kid you not, like, I didn't notice him until, like, the very, very end of my first playthrough. Like, I knew that there was this Creighton guy floating around, but I figured I just missed him with the flagging and stuff. He is so well hidden that I thought he was just rubble.
Yeah. man looks like rubble. Can we talk about Creighton here? Even though we get to see a little bit later, but we run into him here. Mm-hmm. So Creighton's super interesting. Like, Creighton and Pate are one of my favorite kind of NPC storylines in this game. We talked about Pate, and we talked about how we'd, discuss his other half eventually. Mm-hmm. And this is him. Who is, I think it was Vivian on Facebook had it as a post as, Creighton, Pate essentially just being a troll. Because you think he's Patches, you think he's a piece of shit. And then this is the real, like, psychopathic murderer.
Yeah.
There's all these, like, little clues about it. We talked to cartographer Kale, who talks about a serial killer that had escaped. What is the land he's from?
Mira.
And then there's something when you get his armor, it says, like, it looks like the armor of et cetera, like some kind of noble armor, but there's something off about it.
Yeah, that's Pate's armor. It was a Mira Elite Knights, but it had been it appeared to have been pillaged or plundered.
Well, Pate's looks like it was stolen. Creighton's looks like there's something off about it, and it's a stag with just one horn instead of two. Like, it's a counterfeit version of it. Like, he has made a version to try to fit in with these knights. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He hates Pate.
Yeah, yes, he does. And like the second you start talking to him, he warns you off of him. Kind of like Pate does telling you about this other guy who was locked away and was very angry.
Yeah, well, Pate locked him up. Yeah. Like, Pate is the guy who locked him in this area. It was like, I've seen a door like that before. Mm-hmm. This was that. So,
yeah. But I mean, he gives us the fist pump bit.
Exactly.
So he can't be all bad.
No, so he's actually the best. Yeah. Like, that is better than a white soapstone.
In terms of the amount of good that it can do.
Yep. That fist pump gesture is so good.
It's more like an Arsenio Hall, like whoop 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 whoop. Yeah, it's like the dog pound kind of like.
Yeah, rolling dice.
Let's just get rowdy. Come on.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2, get rowdy.
Oh, yeah, that is probably my favorite gesture. I like get pumped up. I like get warmed up too. Uh-huh. The one that you learn a little bit later, because it looks really non like something you'd show anybody else. It looks like you'd actually just be doing.
I think on the balance, my most used one is Warcry, though.
Warcry's really good.
Yeah.
They're all really good. Decapitate's really good.
Decapitate.
Yeah, Decapitate's great. Yeah. That's super good. But that's great. And then we'll eventually get to the end of his storyline in an entirely different place. Mm-hmm. He's locked here and he's on his way somewhere. Yeah. Along with Pate.
So just like always, exhaust his dialogue until he gives you his gesture, and then you'll move on.
Yeah. Yeah. So the path kind of splits here. You can kind of take the high road and the low road. You can go through creepy caves, or you can go through this kind of like treacherous cliffside bandit approach.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
In terms of ease, I think that the skeleton one is a little bit easier. Just that you can make progress, if you will, by killing the throwbacks to the old crypt from Dark Souls 1 necromancers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the super extra creepy, like mutant necromancers.
Yeah, like Jesus.
Yeah.
They had like marionette gear around them or something like that. Like they're necromancers with handles.
Well, they look a little bit like what's his head? Pinwheel. They've kind of got like a pinwheelness to the general shape of them, kind of star shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pinwheelosity, but like if you take the right path into the caves, it is straight up catacombs like 2.1 light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't get all the way through the caves, it should be noted.
Right.
You have to come in through the other side. This is the way the speedrunners take. It's a little bit quicker to go. You bypass like a large portion of the cliffside by going this way. One of the things I was thinking about is like what I think I might have mentioned this last episode. What's going to be the channeler for this season? And I think it might be curse pots. Mm-hmm. And this I think is the first curse pot you run into.
Yeah.
Or we run into.
Yeah, that we have run into on the nominal playthrough for this show. Yeah, and like if you don't know what's happening, they're very confusing because they're laughing. You see curse. If you've played Dark Souls 1, you are trained to be revulsed by curse. Although it
freak
works.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's no big deal in this game.
Yeah.
They replaced that with petrify. This is no big deal, but it is really creepy, and they laugh at you.
Yep.
Like super unsettling. Our buddy Will sent me a text at one point that was just like, he's like, this forest is laughing at me. I can't take it. And like, I just knew exactly what he was talking about. It was a later forest. But they're super spooky. And, where these guys come from, like we know where their greatest concentration is. We have them kind of tied to another area, but they're sprinkled throughout. There's at least one other area I know that just has one of them. Kind of floating around. So I don't know exactly why this is here.
Yeah. Or why it's just one with a couple of broken remains of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, so good question. If anybody's got any theories about that.
Yeah. Hit us up. Duckfeed.tv/contact. Yeah.
But either way, you either go through the first part of the caves or the cliffside, and you're kind of doing this... cliffside wall, which is just straight up full of ambushes and, engaging in melee while people cover you with ranged attacks.
Oh yeah, I'm currently in this. This is the current wall I'm up against is New Game Plus on this area. And it's awful.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The enemies are very thoughtfully placed.
Yeah. You make a good point, Kole, when you're talking about the encounters being a little bit more planned out. I think that's definitely true of this area.
Yeah.
Like it feels, in a way, like kind of like, all of the encounters are planned out, but it feels a little more video gamey in a good way, or at least just more designed and a little less organic, but like it makes sense for what, these creatures are.
Yeah, like
for this area?
the Copse, accepting its lower significance, which is not ignorable, I don't think. But the Copse is kind of the most video gamey area of this game. It's like the Sens, almost of this game, I think. Whereas I thought before that might have been the Earthen Peak. This this just feels a little bit more artificial, like in a way that's engaging to me. So I don't use artificial in a negative sense. But like that pops up to me where like this is a bunch of very modular, very encapsulated encounters that are kind of meant specifically to fuck you over.
So I guess this whole spoke is a little bit like that because I think of that as Earthen Peak, and I definitely think of that as the Iron Keep as being very designed and gamey. Yeah. Like there are things that happen in Iron Keep that have no organic purpose in a castle. But I wonder
you want to dip some dudes in lava? Like come on, it's just a party.
Just like Iron Keep Easter dips. It makes me wonder though, like the fact that they're all on one spoke. I wonder if that can be kind of hand waved away in any sense.
I mean, by a sadistic ruler who has the ability to like shape the landscape.
Yeah. He's like Arcade from X-Men.
Yeah.
Piece of shit, man. Iron King's the real villain of this game.
Yeah. And I can't wait till we get to the New Game Plus because that's very interesting to me as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun episode.
Yeah. But yeah, you're going down here. There are kind of two like main ambushes you get. One that really doesn't give you much of anything aside from a weapon, I think, that kind of is in a little clearing overlook kind of place. And then there's also the other lockaway that has like 7 dudes in it, where you get good.
or the clearing, if you're talking about the one you have to take the ramp up to, has one of the crystal lizards that's hardest to get in the game for me. Like I can never get that crystal lizard because I'm too busy fighting off undead.
I think I got it because I did an unaimed lightning spear or unlocked on and just kind of hit it just by chance. It was But yeah, he is incredibly hard to get.
Yeah.
But you get jumped, and eventually you get super jumped by Merciless Rowena, who looks like a real badass.
Yeah,
I love that gear. That'd be a really fun cosplay to do, especially because of the scythe.
Yeah,
like it specifically seems to be intimidation, is what that hinges on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it right, I think you can get her to spawn while you're up on a ledge. So from where that lizard was, you can jump to a ledge.
Yeah, there's a little sniper's nest.
Yeah, I think you can jump to the next one.
Yeah,
and she'll spawn.
Yeah, she always comes in for me when I go into the little lockaway to get the lockaway key. Yeah, so that she almost always comes with friends.
Yeah.
So
not a great place to fight her.
Yeah. She so her gear specifically calls her out as a servant of Aldia. Like she's wearing the warlock kind of set.
Yeah. So we know Aldia has his sinister thumbs in this area in some way, shape, or form. And then just kind of for completion's sake, you can make a run to the boss now.
Yeah.
But we'll go explore that cave.
Yeah.
Mostly because you get I think you get cool pyromancies.
Yeah,
for doing that. I think that's the ultimate reward.
Specifically, it's combustion and also opening up one of the more ineffectual shortcuts in the game. So, if you come at it from the Skeleton Lord Fog Gate, you can pull the lever after killing one of those necromancers, which is kind of sequestered on a little platform. So that's a neat encounter because it forces you into a ranged, or as the messages tell me, just jump and kill him.
Yeah,
that is a scary jump.
Most certainly. And,
in the dark too.
I don't know. They put those sconces there, and they expect me to light those torches, but nope.
Yeah, I think that gameplay wise, the reason these guys are here is to introduce you to skeletons and necromancers in advance of the chariot.
Oh yeah.
Is kind of what they're softening you up for, because otherwise this area doesn't have a whole lot of. I mean, I guess it makes sense because of the boss fight, which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
Which has, the skeleton lords, which are, take over and decide to create a new kingdom of skeletons.
Yep. Former servants of Alon, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. Of the Iron King, who I think it's their armor that says this.
Yeah.
Started to create a kingdom of their own. Yes.
Is there a citizenship test?
I know.
Did they just hook up a pulse meter?
Do I have to marry a skeleton to get my black card and get into this new area? Because I'll do it.
It's take the pulse of your dick as they show you pictures of skeletons, and if it speeds up, okay, you're in. You're cool.
In. We need to recreate. What do you feed us? How do we make more? Where are the cherubs from the Tomb of the Giants? That's where all the baby skeletons go. But yeah, skeleton lords. Lords.
Skeleton. So I remember specifically after I beat this, I sent you a text message, Gary, saying I found a boss fight that is going to be your favorite in the game.
Yeah,
something like that.
And multiple people texted me that, or something to that effect. It's great. Levi sent me a thing, and he's like, it was before I'd seen them, and he's like, Skeleton Lords, best boss or best boss ever? And I was like, Skeleton Lords. And then I got there. It's just
don't make that sound ever again, please.
Skeletons.
So like that, 7 to 10 hour stretch of the game between when he sent you that and when you actually encountered these guys was one of the most magical stretches of the game ever. Any game. Because you were thinking around any given corner there could have been a skeleton lord, let alone 3.
And anything, like, first, I mean, Skeleton Lords do not disappoint, for one thing. But just that name is just so evocative. Like, anything that I could put into, anything I could substitute for X was going to be fucking rad. And these guys rule.
Yeah. Well, their arena's awesome, too, because they have those pillars. Like, this is like a big, like, it almost looks like an observatory. Or like some kind of like oratory or something like that, where
you would be tried before them.
Yes.
Like if we decided to get citizenship in this kingdom, like we would be in chains in front of those 3 thrones, and having the 3 skeleton lords like ask us skeleton riddles
with the pillars,
like from Laffy Taffies, from Dr. Ding Dong's Halloween joke explosion. Now available on Amazon Kindle.
Gary, why did the skeleton not cross the road?
I don't know.
Because he didn't have any guts. Kill him.
I'm sorry, Lord.
Yeah, skeleton lord. Did you guys encounter the little peaky hidey hole to the skeleton lords?
No.
Oh, on the left?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's all closed in with rubble.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You can kind of peek in there and do some skeleton spying.
Do some deadly premonition on them skeletons.
Some skeleton peeping.
Yeah, skeleton premonition.
I'm putting on my crown.
I know. Well, it's kind of sad to think of the skeleton lords like backstage getting ready.
Yeah. Like it's a Disney stage show. Like,
is my collar straight?
I really hope the pyrotechnics don't fuck up again.
Where's catering?
These little SOBs. That ought to hold them. I just love that the pillars are hewn with like just a gigantic slope of skulls. Skulls and femurs.
It's the Ossiariest.
Yes.
It is. It is so fucking sweet.
Oh man, and like on top of and we mentioned pyrotechnics already, and like this area is like filled with pyrotechnics when you start fighting them. It's great.
Yeah, and it has the thing, I keep mentioning it, but destructible environments. Like when you duck behind a throne and have someone throw a fireball at you and the throne explodes into bones, like that is enough to redeem. Like that justifies this game on its own. Like that is just badass and. In a thousand ways. And I actually like this boss fight a lot.
That's great.
Like it is not just, I mean, it's pretty easy. Like a lot of people, I put out the call on Facebook, like, what's the pinwheel of Dark Souls 2? And several people said Skeleton Lords. And they are pretty easy. But it's really like easy and original.
Mm-hmm. I think they're easy if you don't kill them all at once, if you will, and just have like a ton of skeletons following you.
And that's the trick, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's moderation.
Exactly.
Kill your skeletons in moderation.
Because you think, okay, my attacks are doing so much damage to these skeletons that I might as well just take them all out at once. Oh no, why is there only half of the health bar down? What are these bone wheels doing? I've never seen them before. Fuck, I'm dead.
The first time I fought them, I definitely just made a skeleton party. Like, did not realize the trick and just carved through them and just had 16 skeletons like at me. And I actually managed to first try them my first playthrough, and then on later ones I did not. I've died to a couple stray bone wheels. Mm-hmm. But making that big skeleton party is pretty fucking fun. Yeah. And just because the arena is so good for it with all the pillars, because you can kind of get cover and run around from them and such.
Yeah.
And they love skulls, man. If you got an alluring skull, this area is your playground.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Put that wherever you want. Everyone goes for it.
Chum the waters.
Yeah.
Oh, new skull, new model.
Yeah.
It's like the iPhone 5 of skeleton heads.
And then bone wheels come back, which I'm always happy to see because they're sons of bitches. But like I like I was just like, oh fuck you, when they pop up like.
Well, again, it's from almost just kind of like, oh, you don't want to see these anymore. Well, okay, we'll keep them to one area, except it's a boss fight.
Yeah, and there's tons of them at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't bait them out one at a time because we're going to spawn 4 or 5 of them at once. Yeah, super cool. Like, good.
Yeah. And the individual skeleton lords themselves. I mean, you have the one who's a pyromancer, and I think the other ones can occasionally throw a fireball at you. But it's a little bit like a D&D party,
Yeah. And they just look amazing. Like these skeletons look great. Mm-hmm. They're great looking skeletons.
Yeah. Decked out in full regalia.
Yeah, I'm out of breath.
No bones about it.
Yeah.
Plus one, there's all skeletons.
Yeah, these skeleton lords, man, these guys are good. It is not my favorite boss fight mechanically or lore wise, but set piece wise, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it has that in common with Pinwheel as well, where Pinwheel is so easy, but his arena looks so fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And this is a pretty easy boss fight, but this looks so goddamn amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it stands out in stark contrast to the other boss fight too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also looks really cool, but it's a very different boss fight.
True.
From these guys' souls, these guys all share one soul because they're in love. And you can get 2 items. You've got one of them on here, the Roaring Halberd, which I've only used a little bit. But the more interesting item you can get from them is the crossbow shield.
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool. There's a couple different shield combo items that allow you to use an offhand thing and a shield at the same time in this game.
I think the crossbow shield comes from the horseman.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, you're right. Well, shit.
Yep.
I think there's orders from these guys. Well, dang. Okay. Well, that's fine. No need to edit that out.
Okay.
I'll admit that I'm wrong. No. So fuck that.
Now that I've proven you wrong, I'll take your place as Skeleton Lord.
In a couple episodes, this show is just Murph and Brayton.
Yeah.
And haven't slowly supplanted us.
Yeah. It's the second anyone is wrong, they have to tap out.
Yeah, it's like Wayne's World. We sell the rights for $5,000, go buy sweet guitars, and end up being fucked over by Rob Lowe.
Well, to be fair, Rob Lowe's gonna Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
You can't stop him from being him. Oh man! Can I give you guys some late breaking news?
Yeah.
I just got a toot from somebody who sent it to me and the Twin Humanities podcast. John, also at Kenny999. There's a Kotaku article with animated GIFs of footage from Beast Souls, Project Beast.
Sweet.
Yeah. Ooh. I'll drop that in the robot if one of you guys puts an instant message in.
Cool.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I will watch those when we're not recording because I'm a fucking professional, Cole.
Sorry, jeez.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
I get a tweet that says, it's happening, and then Beast Souls. It's okay, this might be relevant to this show.
It is definitely relevant.
I'm not a professional because I'm looking at the GIF. I'm like, oh, God.
And honestly, I would look at more stuff if my keyboard wasn't the loudest thing in the world. I just can't. So, yeah. And also it's hard to distract me away from skeletons. Skeleton lords are an alluring skull to me in the SAT question form.
Yeah, that's your Harlan Ellison trap.
Yeah, surrounded by these skeleton lords.
Yeah.
I just want to play them like fucking xylophones.
Am I to believe this is some
core with all 3 of them?
Dun, 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 dun.
Am I to believe this is some kind of magical xylophone?
Exactly. The same skeleton lord twice in a row, just distinctly different tones. Yeah. So the skeleton lords, after you beat them, which why would you? But after you beat them,
that's like the alternate bird ending in Evo. You side with the bird people.
Yeah. I wonder how long before I'd get bored if I just decide to avoid the skeleton lords and just run around in circles and just live with them.
It's just
you also, if you can invade in here and in the full dark set, and just be I'm one of them.
Yeah, each time you get a little cinematic that's you taking off your skin like it's a snowsuit.
Like that Robbie video, that Robbie whatever his name is.
Yeah, that Robbie Williams.
Yeah, Robbie Williams
Millennium.
Video. Yeah.
Man, that's a pull and a half, isn't it?
Thank you for remembering his last name because I definitely wasn't going to. He'll always be Robbie to me. But you can make your way to Harvest Valley, which we're gonna talk about at some point. Not just yet.
Harvest Valley sounds like some kind of
salad dressing.
Yeah.
You don't want to use Harvest Valley Ranch.
It's got Paul Newman feeding it to his dog on Jay Leno.
Yeah, and his dog just slowly, the poison meter on his dog just filling up at an alarming rate. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, this episode is brought to you by listeners like you.
Yeah.
Just like NPR or Reading Rainbow, you are self-supporting yourself by supporting us. It is a codependent nightmare of insanity. Brought to you by Patreon.com.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, good pitch. I'm sure that's approved. We're good.
They're not listening to this. So what is Patreon, and how are these people bringing this thing to us, Cole?
Well, it's like an ongoing Kickstarter. You pledge a certain amount of money every month, and that goes towards helping us do interesting things and continue to keep the lights on. And we have goals set up there. Just recently, we got a new. We passed the point where Gary's going to make another Mario Paint / Core DS album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another Stoic Club thing.
Yeah, and which is going to be available, to certain patrons of certain levels, and for everyone else, it's going to cost you a couple bucks. So get in on the ground floor. You also get a bunch of other neat stuff, physical rewards, early access shows, as we mentioned, and then what I'm very excited about is our live stream, which just to peek behind the curtain, we're recording our first one tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we're going to be joined by Brayden Cameron. And if you are a backer of a certain level, you could watch that as it happens, and if not, you're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah.
To see it. And you can't contribute questions. And it's going to be a real humdinger because Brayden's a super hilarious dude.
Yeah.
And the questions we have so far are fun.
Yeah. And you get to see our faces as we talk.
Yeah, I'm looking at a webcam right now, which is weird. So if you thought we looked weird in the Patreon video, just wait until you see us animated this way.
Animated.
Yeah. Yeah. Marionettes.
Yeah.
So that address one more time is patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, and even a little bit helps, and we really appreciate it.
Yep.
But let's hit this purgatory.
Yeah.
Which you go to from another area from the forest. Like, it's not like this is past here.
Right.
It's just an alternate path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's over one of those little quaint arch bridges that is scattered throughout this place, leading up to a quaint little, let's say, Hall of Pain.
Yeah. Yeah, these awesome fucking pillars.
Yeah.
And these guys can sometimes pull one at a time and sometimes can chain pull. Mm-hmm. I've pulled 2 to 3 of them at a time before, and they are hard to fight more than one-on-one. These guys.
Yeah. Well, they have weapons that are specifically designed to mess up your crowd control. So either there's one of them who has a whip that's not too bad, but the rest of them have these long pole arm kind of things that are kind of have a wicked scythe to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do bleed and dark damage, and it's just fuck.
Yeah.
Pick one.
And they look like the Shredder.
Yeah. Yeah. They do look like shredders. Various shredders. This looks so cool though, looking down this hallway and seeing the 4 of them up on the pillars.
Just I love that. It's
just waiting for this. Is one of the coolest images in this game. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got very good at running past them until eventually I just making this boss run enough just got them down to where this was a deserted valley of wind and ghosts.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of people despawn these guys.
Yeah, this is I'm prone to absolutes. However, this might have been one of the most memorably hard boss runs in the game, outside of the Undead Crypt.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because the Crypt never. I didn't have that big hard of a time with the Crypt. I think this is really hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is super, super tough, and it punishes you for running past them because you go on this bridge and the bridge has 2 holes in it. Which is very easy to fall into if you don't see them coming. And then at the end of it, right before the fog gate, is a red phantom.
Yeah. And the massive greatsword.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's Gitsy. Yeah. And he can be kind of tough too. Speedrunners run, and if you jump to your right where the bonfire aesthetic is, all of the torturers though following you will all just do the hilarious awkward back away the enemies do when they can't get to you in Dark Souls, which is great. And sometimes fall off the bridge. Yeah, exactly. Whoa, okay, you're on a cliff. But that jump is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Why are speedrunners going here, if not just for an all boss run?
All boss.
Okay.
Speedruns. Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
This Black Phantom is interesting just because of the gear that he carries. Because he has not only like one of the shields from the Undead Crypt, but so like everything is like Elite Knight stuff. Not specifically like Elite Knight stuff, but like from like Vendrick and Dranglake and all these things. Like he has the Llewellyn set, which is, you know, kind of the master blacksmith of this realm, kind of stuff. So like the reason he's camped out here kind of serving this blood god is, you know, it's interesting to think about, although there are no real answers as to why somebody as decorated as him is specifically posted up.
Right. Yeah. No real idea other than mechanical purposes to stop you from getting into this boss fight, which like this was one of the boss fights that I remember hearing about a lot before the game came out.
Yeah.
Like they released images of this guy really early on. The Executioner's Chariot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember looking at the promo material and being like, how the fuck do you even hit this dude?
Yeah. Well, I remember people speculating that it would like hunt you.
Yeah.
Like as you went from area to area and stuff, which I thought sounded really cool and you know, that would have been neat. I still like this boss fight a lot. But that would have been pretty rad. And this is another just like fucking metal design as hell. Like I think that these two boss fights together are probably the most metal Dark Souls has ever been. Like the Skeleton Lords and then this like, you know, awesome Executioner's Chariot with an undead killer horse.
See,
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with the Iron King, but
Yeah.
Iron King's super different kinds of metal.
Yeah.
Like death metal versus like, you know, 80s like metal.
Yeah. Versus, so it's like it's a Megadeth cover versus, yeah.
Yeah, like a anal cunt cover. Or
Yeah.
You know?
King Destroyer.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
so it's
Big Destroyer, there we go.
Megadeth versus Cannibal Corpse. Like,
Yeah, there's a band I like called Destroyer, and whenever I'm searching around online, I get all these Pig Destroyer songs, and they couldn't be more different.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a two-headed hell horse. I like how the game goes out of its way to say that the executioner isn't the one calling the shots. It's actually the horse
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the
super
shifty
good.
eyes.
Yeah.
All four of them.
Well, the cool thing about this boss fight is that like this is Dark Souls. Like the way we were kind of lamenting how they haven't learned their dragon lesson very well, they've learned their puzzle boss lesson.
Yeah.
Like we had our dragon god and we had our bed of chaos, and both of those were flawed in their own ways. And this is a really good puzzle boss.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. It is very gamey, but without feeling that way.
yeah, it makes a sense. You know,
Yeah.
What's going on. Like it's just trying to run you down with these badass spikes on the outside of its wheels. And you just have to make your way to this lever to stop it is the traditional way to beating it. And, that's complicated by skeletons and necromancers along the way with these little kind of indentations. You can, kind of gain ground on your way up. And it really ends up being like a shield stability test. Like if you can block the skeletons long enough for them to get killed by the chariot, you're fine. But if they break through your poise, then you're fucked. And the skeletons get a little bit tougher as you go, and they're archers and they vary it up. So it's a really nice, like difficulty, kind of ramp.
Yeah. I got so good at the first round of this that I was able to roll through the spikes with my iframes.
Yeah, that's the speedrunner trick for sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the alternate kill for this guy?
No.
No.
It's rad, and I will put it in the show notes. If you kill him without pulling the lever, because you can do it, you shoot arrows at him or hit him with spells and stuff, and you just kind of stay in that first area where he's at. Eventually, he will get hurt and try to make the jump that he makes every time, but not make it. So you go to the end of the hallway, and he's just on the edge of the cliff, scrambling to try to get up, but he can't.
Oh,
and
wow.
you just knock him off the cliff.
Holy shit.
It's super cool, and like something that would almost never happen. It's such a good detail because it would almost never happen naturally in play, but it looks so good. Like, and it's so like it's so pathetic when it's trying to like scramble up the side of the cliff, and you just put it out of its misery.
Huh.
Similar to Ceaseless Discharge. Just trying to pull itself up.
So they just like straight up accounted for that. Like the idea that somebody would have taken a ranged, strategy towards it.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, some really tense moments as you're kind of trying to bend hurry up from one alcove to the other.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking for an excuse to say Ben, hurry up.
I figured as
okay, cool.
but super cool boss fight. Eventually, you pull a lever and it crashes, and you fight it as a boss, and it fights a little bit like the boars.
Yeah,
from Dark Souls 1, and later in Dark Souls 2.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and he also has like some dark attacks. So, like the range that you have to fight him at is a little bit squirrely. Insofar as like you think that you're behind him, but like, oh, I'm straight up just like behind a horse. He'll just kick me. Cool. I'm dying like thousands of little girls have. Ugh.
Oh, Jesus.
Ponies. They don't like you standing behind them.
No, they don't.
Nope.
And you don't want to either because you can see all of their genitals and buttholes.
Yeah.
And none of that is good on a horse. And this area
stop
mirrors
a Skyrim modder.
But if only we could.
I mean, pending legislation.
Yeah. This area is very similar to the Cathedral of Blue, in that it is a boss fight, like a legacy boss fight that recalls an earlier one that just protects a covenant. And these covenants are actually set up as polar opposites of each other, which we're going to talk about here in a second. You find the Brotherhood of Blood behind this horse, which I was disappointed because I wanted to explore a whole Undead Purgatory.
Yeah.
That's not what purgatory means. Mm-hmm. It's not literally just a room where you get run over.
But like, I love the cyclical imagery of that. Just kind of, like here's this thing that is, torturing something that killing something that cannot die forever and ever in perpetuity until you disrupt the cycle. Like it's a nice little.
Hell.
That's just like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just however, as kind of like a nice little like diorama of what's happening in the larger cosmology of this particular instance of this cycle, pretty cool, right? It's like it's a preview of what's to come. So that's pretty satisfying. However, purgatory seems like a little bit of a misnomer.
Yeah, it sounds cooler than Undead Hell.
Yeah.
Or at least like less laughable. Yeah. I was looking at the area list and I was like, Undead Hell. What are you doing, Dark Souls 2?
Yeah.
But or go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say this Titchy
Greg.
Yep.
Is he one of the bell tower gnomes or related or?
I think he's just short. Like there's nothing that implies that he is an automaton. The way that the bell tower toys are. But he is a super creep. He had a different voice in an earlier version. You can find both voice files online. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. The new one is definitely a little less like serious and a little bit more like impish.
Yeah.
So.
I love that he's just kind of standing in the corner surrounded by all those candles.
Yeah.
Very unsettling.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the first time I played through the game, I never got the item that allowed him to talk to me, so I never actually figured this guy out. I didn't actually join the Covenant until my second playthrough.
Yeah.
I did a couple of the duels, I guess, which is the main thing of this Covenant today. And they're neat. They're nice arenas. I guess there's 2 arenas that you can fight in.
I only had the one happen for me.
Okay. Yeah. Which one did you have?
It's the one with the kind of it looks like the gallows in the middle almost, like the big wooden structure in the center.
Okay. So maybe there's 3 then, because is it like is there like an upper level and a lower level?
Not to the gallows thing. You can just climb to the top of it, I believe.
Okay.
And
wow.
then there's kind of like a lip around the outside of the circle area.
Huh. So I guess maybe there's 3, and I've only gotten 2.
That could be, and I didn't spend tons of time with this, to be fair, so I could be wrong if somebody's freaking out listening.
Yeah. The ones I know of is one is just it's a long bridge that you can knock people off of, and that's kind of gives an advantage to certain strategies. And then there's one where there's an upper level and a lower level, and you can drop down and take a moderate amount of damage. But of course, every time I drop down, they would immediately follow and just axe me to the head with the downward attack. I did not win many of these fights.
There's not a soul memory requirement for these guys.
Yeah.
So it is a good place for unlimited PvP if you want to actually just fight people like a fighting game as opposed to trying to fuck up people's flow.
Yeah.
Or actually, contribute to their game worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no problem, whatever your soul level, getting matches, because they don't look at that. So like if you just want to fight some people, this is a place you can just do it whenever you want.
Yeah. But that's not enough for anybody who wants this to be the Dark Wraiths.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which they balance that out. Like, so Dark Wraiths incredibly overpowered in the PvP and kind of broke the experience for a lot of people, but it was very well hidden. Like, you kind of had to break the game to get to Dark Wraiths a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to this, which is kind of just, you can end up here by accident and sign up for this. So, it's a weird little, balancing act that they've done.
This is like the only Covenant ring that just has no effect.
I think it gives you additional bleed damage.
It gives you 50 bleed.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't use bleed weapons all that often, so.
Yeah, and 50 bleed is not enough to make a big difference if you're just using the ring.
Yeah.
Like it supplements something, and you shouldn't use bleed anyway because it maxes out at like 200, I think.
Yeah.
Like bleed is in Whipfest. I'm learning that bleed is pretty shitty. But yeah, it's a cool covenant. Like I like these PvP covenants. I like that's it's just always there. Mm-hmm. You don't actually having these dueling arenas is a really great idea, and it's a little bit better than the Battle of Stoicism. From Dark Souls 1.
Is that name? I just react violently to it.
Yeah, it's pretty dorky.
Yeah,
I prefer the Battle of Epicureanism. It's just like a hot dog eating contest.
The grossest part of hot dog eating contests is that they dip them in water.
Yep.
Like I'll put away some hot dogs, but that's the part that fucking grosses me out.
I wanted like a non-glitch hot dog eating speed run. No water.
No water percent, dry percent.
Yeah.
Dry percent speed run.
Okay, so no water, all condiments.
Yeah. Listen, when you eat hot dogs, everyone knows it's no water, final destination, all condiments.
Fox only. Like what?
Fox dogs.
Yeah, fox dogs, man.
Everyone wears a fox suit.
If that was this one year, like some kind of weird protest, like solidarity, all the people at Coney Island dressed up in fox suits. As they did but they wouldn't say what they were up to.
Oh my.
IFOCE.
Mm-hmm. But that's those areas, more or less.
Yep.
Next time we're going to actually finally go and kind of finish off the Bastille by taking out Sinner's Rise. And then we're going to head on down to the Tomb of the Saints. It's a real transitional kind of episode. Yeah. I'm very excited to say that we're going to be joined by Dave Klein of Dave Control Live is his YouTube channel. He is a Dark Souls lorester and Let's Player, and very, very active with Dark Souls 2 lore. Did a bunch of Let's Plays of Kingsfield games. So it ends up actually, if you want to see those Kingsfield games but don't actually want to play them, Dave's done really good Let's Plays of them. And yeah,
it's a good get.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
So I'm looking for, and specifically the reason why I wanted to reach out to him for Tomb of the Saints is that he has a long video of him rat broing and different kind of rat broing techniques and stuff. So a bit of a rat bro spurt.
Cool. So Murph, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, let's see here. There's dorknight.com, which is the website for our podcast, Dork Night, which is released weekly. And, there is also Hours Played, which is a 5-minute video game review / mini sketch podcast. It's kind of I'm going through a sort of transformational phase where I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing. The last game I played was just awful.
What was the last one you did this time?
Cities XL.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was also going to my sister's wedding, and then this is by far it's a 30-second podcast of me just saying it's shit. So that's not the most creative one, but the one before that was the Cherry Tree High Comedy Club. I buy a bunch of shitty bundles, guys. I need help.
Like 2 or 3 removed from the indie bundle.
Yeah.
Or humble bundle, rather.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's like $1, get 100 games. All right.
Why not?
Wait a minute, 80, these are Tetris variants. It's grade school all over again. Why did I sell all those magazines?
But but the next one should be Company of Heroes, which I've got some hopes for.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So
how,
it's-
because, just kind of the general percentages of most of our, games that we have for Steam, I think, are little indie games because we all take advantage of those sales. But every once in a while, you're going to run into like a big budget AAA game,
Yeah,
And,
it's weird because occasionally the indie games are the ones that I really like Anodyne was like a really big hit.
Yeah.
But Binary Domain was just a piece of shit.
Is that Capcom game that was like real recent?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
there's the moment everyone has when they realize that indie doesn't mean good.
Yeah.
For me, it happened with movies before games, but like, I just distinctly remember like, man, this independent movie I just watched is fucking dumb. Like, this is poorly written.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot of indie games too. Like, I'll play something and then, it just disappoints me.
Oh, Binary Domain was Sega. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of movies, I wanted to, it's not my podcast, but, Alcohollywood, they're a movie podcast, but this month they have been doing all video game movies.
Oh, cool.
And so they've been, let's see, it's, they did, Wing Commander, Silent Hill, I can't remember, Cloak and Dagger, Mortal Kombat was, I believe, what they started out with.
Yeah.
And I think they're finishing off the month with the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
A little bit of dessert.
For our times. Oh, those guys are also goons, I think.
Yeah, they are goons,
people, so.
and they're really nice guys up in the Chicago area. So go check them out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I like that they're not just going for the like straight up obvious bad ones. Like it's not just all Uva all the time.
No, and like they genuinely try and find what is good in each movie, and that it's not just shit angry video game nerd. It's
For example, Wing Commander has Matthew Lillard
and Mark Hamill.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Wing Commander games have Mark Hamill.
Yes.
And where can people find us? Or go? I'm sorry, Murph.
I was going to say, and also check out itch.itch.io.
How about show notes? Just tell me what it is, and I'll put it in the notes. We just say
I'm a podcast professional.
We'll just put it in the show notes because the Laka. So your game site.
Yeah,
is that's fair? Okay.
Hey Gary, where can we find you?
Sorry. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I just like when I'm listening to a podcast and someone reads a URL that isn't easy to remember, I'm just like, why are you doing this?
So it's
I'll look it up.
breadstore.pineappleexpress./ Well, slash is spelled out. Dot is
yeah, I know. It refers to the fiction. It refers to the Murph Smurf / fiction that you can find. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your post. Cool. Where can people find us, Cole?
Well, they can find us at Duckfeed.tv. There are a bunch of episodes. We've covered a lot of games, and there's more attention on us than ever as we kind of plow through these things and as these new announcements come out about Beast Souls and whatnot. So, just why not start at the beginning or, check out our old episodes there. iTunes ratings and reviews always help. Mm-hmm. And as we mentioned at the beginning and probably a little bit towards the middle here, we have that Patreon campaign, which every month we get, you pledge a certain amount, and then you get cool stuff in return for that.
Yeah, and even as little as $1 makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So
that RSS feed is great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, the early release one?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, that's always trying to figure out an easier way to do that, but I'm very happy that is to hear a good report that actually works and is not a stupid, horrible piece of shit like most of the things I make. So
Yeah, shut up, Cole.
No. Like technically. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying this to upsell anybody, but at the $25 level, you get a piece of pitch ephemera, which we put together for this month, and it's amazing. And these are not going to be available outside of doing this, so there are going to be 4 of these out in the world, and they're great. So just throwing that out there, if you have a couple extra bucks a month, because they're good. Yeah, and we also have a bunch of other shows. So if you that are on that RSS feed. So if you go to Duckfeed.tv, check out our other shows. We're not going to list them all, but they're all video game and non-video game related. You can assure yourself of that.
Yes.
They fall into one of 2 camps. But we like them, and as we said, there's a lot of crossover material. Yeah. So we reference a lot of things. So if you want to get the full story, you got to collect the entire miniseries.
Yep. They're approaching something about let's say about 30 hours a month.
Yeah,
if not more than that. Yeah, it's
a lot of stuff, and cool stuff's coming up this summer too. Like we're launching some new stuff. So,
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm playing Alpha Protocol because of you guys.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
score.
I haven't watched the.
Yeah, that interview comes out soon too, so that'll be good. We just did that.
Spoiler:
so.
Chris Avalone is amazing and a super nice dude and very open.
He's like the nicest fucking person I've ever met. Like I want him to adopt me.
You cut out the can you be my daddy question, right?
Yeah, okay. I know. I just he's so good. But until next time, what should they do?
They should seek misery, lest this land swallow them whole. So the world might be sundered. Umbasa.
Yep. Umbasa.
Umbasa.
That's good, Umbasa.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon